And there we go. And
Can we, how do we close Andrea's video for a minute? She's hiding. Hey, move your camera, Andrea. She's saying she's hiding. Come on.
Okay. That's okay.
Oh, 'cause I can move mine because I'm on a laptop. She can't.
That's funny. We just saw somebody run up the stairs.
Yeah.
They had clothes on, so it wasn't that bad. All right, so a couple things I'm going to start on, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
By the way, there's a chat boxes. You can stop, but this is a small group, so you can just chime in when you want to talk or something.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing I want to make sure about is expectation on both of our ends, to make sure we're all on the same page, because we're a team here. We work with you, and this is like a joint venture together to make it work. And so the expectation is, when we send over leads to you, that's the conversation that we had with them. It's not always going to be the conversation that you had after we send over the notes.
Yeah.
Sometimes, buyers are liars, right? We all know that. We've been doing this business long enough to know that people will tell you one thing and then tell somebody else another thing. But one of the things that we're really excel at is information extraction. So we really train our people on how to have a phone call where you're not pushy, you're more friendly. It's all about just making them feel comfortable. So one of the things that we've learning from doing this right now is that some people will get on the phone with them, and it's a little more abrupt conversation. And I'm just using that word as because where they came from, right? Versus a warm and fuzzy conversation. Mm-hmm. So keep in mind, these are internet leads that don't know you from they don't know you. They've never heard of you before. And you've got to be really cautious. So we're going to talk a little bit about the phone call and how that phone call should go. The other thing we're going to talk about is grouping. We're going to talk a little bit about grouping and how you make sure you use the correct groups, because for us to be in sync together, things have to be in the correct groups and notes have to be written down. I just got off the phone with a group in Boulder that's one of our customers, and they're doing great, but they're really lacking in the notes department, and meaning they're not putting notes in there when we give them something to do. So therefore, our accountability manager looks at it, and there's no note saying what we sent over was done. So therefore, in our mind, it's not done.
Sure.
They email you and call you and harass you to get it done. And then we call you and say, "Oh, I did it. I just didn't put a note in there." So notes are really important. We're going to do the definition of hot and calendared leads, a couple of emails that we use to work, and then education on how to educate your customer. And then we'll answer questions. But again, I'll answer questions as much as we can. All right. So the first thing is phone calls. So the phone call, we're glad to see you joined us in the real person.
Thanks for the warning.
Yeah, much better than looking than a ceiling. So the most important part is the phone call. We send you over a note to call the person, and depending on the lead type, which we'll get into in a few minutes. But the first phone call when you're calling these people has got to be warm and fuzzy and not robotic. And what I mean by robotic is you can't within 35 seconds of the phone call start talking about, well, what you're financing and stuff like that. You've got to build some sort of rapport so they trust you. Just to keep in mind yourself. If I called you up today and you didn't know who I was, and I said, well, yeah, I want you to talk to my friend Bill, who's a lender, and he'll pre-qualify you. And you call, and you're going to say, yeah, I'm going to come get some guy, Bill, who I don't know is actually a real person, my social security number. And with identity theft and all that stuff today, it's a really challenging thing for the consumer. And we've asked, just so you know, we've asked our consumers, what's the thing you find the most challenging when you talk to a realtor the first time? And a lot of the things that are coming up were, well, all they really care about is how much money we have and things like that, or how, they want to really push us into buying right away, things like that. So you got to be very open to that. So the stuff that I talk about when we make phone calls and when I was calling as a realtor, and I'll kind of go over a little bit the actual way to do the call, but I talk about lifestyle. I talk about personal stuff. I talk very little about actual real estate, right? I just want to make sure that I'm building some sort of relationship, especially on a calendar lead or an active lead, not necessarily a lead that's a hot lead. That's a little different story. So very important. So how many kids do you have? Do you have, so schools must be an important thing to you when you're having that conversation. Things like that are what's going to help you become better at building that rapport versus we just got off the phone with them and we know they're looking for a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house for $800,000. So we already have that information there for you. So instead of saying, can I go over your criteria, say, hey, we've been sending you some listings. Have you is this what you're looking for? Things like that. And then you can adjust the search based on that conversation. But you don't want to just regurgitate everything that was in the notes because they already just had that conversation 24 to 48 hours earlier. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking at sailing into people. It's great. And so that phone call is very important. Now, a hot lead is a little bit different because a hot lead, they're saying they want to at least view property, if not buy or sell, within 30 days. And that's our definition of hot leads in calendar. Hot lead is 30 days or less. Calendar leads are over 30 days. So there's people saying they're looking to buy in January. That's a calendar lead. That's not a hot lead. Now, I'm not going to tell you that we don't make mistakes here. We're human beings. Well, at least some of us are. I'm not personally. I'm a robot. But I always said if I could just hire robots to do this job, everything would be awesome. Just haven't perfected the voice yet. It doesn't work well. But so you might get a mistake comes through. If you get a mistake, if you get a lead that's categorized as hot, for instance, and in the notes it says they're doing 6 months, then by all means, please either email that to me so I know, because that's a training moment for us. We're growing and our staff is growing and we spend a lot of time training people, but we want to make sure, we catch mistakes. We make about 12 to 15,000 calls per week right now. It's a lot of calls. And we have to disposition all those leads, so we don't look. We have shift managers on every shift, but we don't check every single lead that goes out. I mean, it's impossible with 12,000 calls a week. So just in case you do get something that's like that. So grouping. Well, let's go back to the hot leads first. So hot lead is, I know you talked to my assistant Julie yesterday, or Victor or Rosa, whoever it may be calling for you guys. And I just want to touch base real quick and say hi and introduce myself. I'll be doing everything I can to help you to find your home. And then I go into, sending you some properties. Have you seen those properties, which we know they have? Is that what you're looking for? Is there something I need to adjust for you? And it says here you're looking to look at property in the next couple of weeks. What I'd like to do is send you out a new list of properties and really start narrowing down your search as we're getting closer to you actually buying a home. That's all I'm getting into on that hot lead is I'm trying to get them. I don't get into financing unless it's a first-time home buyer. First-time home buyer, I'm going to talk to a little bit different because they need the guidance tremendously. They don't get any of this stuff, and they're getting lots of feedback from all these people that don't know anything. Their parents, mainly. Have you all dealt with first-time home buyers at all? Their parents try to dictate everything, correct?
Yeah.
So we try to tie the parents up for the entire buying process and take away their cell phones. So if you can have that conversation, we'll talk with financing. So my way I teach my agents, and we have a lot of agents, is to look at, I give everybody 4 hours of my life. And that 4 hours is my bonding time. So if someone calls me and they want to look at property, and I can show them. I know you guys, by the way, have an inventory problem. We have the same problem right now. So we'll talk about that in a few minutes. We have less than 2 months supply of inventory here right now. So I just lost my train of thought where I was just talking about.
4 hours of your time.
Yes, thank you. So the 4 hours of my time. So basically, I want to spend that 4 hours, and that might be 2 hours. It's whatever time it is. To me, showing 8 houses is 4 times, but you might only be showing 3 or 4 homes right now with the market the way it is. But it gives me a couple of hours to actually get to know them a little more and face-to-face so they trust me. And at that point, I'm going to talk about financing. And I explained that this is a hot market right now. If you don't have a pre-qual letter or proof of funds ready when we make an offer, no one's going to accept your offer. We get in that conversation. At the end of my time with them on that first day, if they're not willing to talk to a lender at that time, I'm done. That's all they get out of me. Because at that time, I've done everything I can, and I'm not saying I'll never call them again, but I'm not showing them more property until they get pre-approved. But I'm going to give them that time to build that trust, because once you build the trust, that's the reason why I did so well. And just so you know that I actually know what I'm talking about, I got in the business in 2001. I started September 10th, 2001. So the next day, business stopped. I wrote my first contract that Saturday at an open house. In my first year, without knowing a soul in this area, I knew no people. I wrote I sold 36 homes the first year, 50 my second year, 80 my third and fourth years. And then I started the brokerage. So I was a realtor, it's like a lot of homes doing exactly what I'm telling you to do. And most of my business after the first year came from leads. The first year it all came from open houses. So that's kind of how I handle that stuff. I keep it really, really light, and I keep it really fun. I think 99% of this business is personality. I don't know how to be serious, so everything is about having a good time and making jokes. And we have a lot of engineers here because of the Space Center. So I have like a little challenge to myself. How quickly can I make them smile? Because they never smile. They cross their arms like David's doing right now. And they just look at you with a serious face. I love being able to see this. We just started using this. This is like really cool. I get to see people now. Usually I'm just talking to a blank screen. It's not very fun.
It's not even the last time I signed up for a video call. Video calls.
Yeah. You look great. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Well, it's kind of what's nice about it though. I can actually see if people are paying attention. So when I do it on a webinar format, it actually tells me people aren't paying attention. So when we started using this, people pay more attention because they know I'm looking at you.
Mhm.
Make sense?
Except you don't know what Diane's doing.
Well, yeah. Well, she's got her hand there. I know. Yeah, every 2 minutes, we just want you to raise your hand. There you go. That's awesome.
I like your method.
So let's talk about groups. Groups for a minute, because you all have the same groups that we use, and there's 3 that I want to talk in particular, because the biggest thing is the synergy here to make sure neither of us look stupid. Because once we look stupid, we lose the confidence of the customer. Okay. And I know I look stupid, but I don't want to be stupid. I don't want to appear stupid. So the shown property group is people you showed property to, but they didn't buy, and then are not looking right now. Because that gives us the indication now that we start following up with that customer again. And the reason why we did that group, in my database for my brokerage, we have about 6,000 of those. And I can go through there and look at it right now, and I'll guarantee that 5,500 were never called by the realtor after they left. Because what happens, you're on to the next thing, right? They didn't buy today, so I'm going to go on to the next thing, and it's going to be.
I'm guilty of that.
Everybody is. I'm guilty of it. The next one is hot not contacted. So hot not contacted means it's a hot lead, but you haven't got a hold of them yet. Hot leads, you have to do more than just make one phone call. So if you call them at 9 o'clock one morning and you didn't get them, call them at 6 o'clock the next time, even that night. These are people that said, I'm going to be buying or viewing or listing a house within 30 days. So we need to get a hold of them. And then the final one, which is just, if not more important, is hot showing. And this one could be the most, and we've run across this already with a few people. Hot showing means that I'm actually showing property to this person as we speak, like right now. So what we've had happen a couple times is we call the, anything good there on the phone?
Oh, yeah. It's fine. I was just like moving my arm. I'm fine.
Yeah. No, I was making fun of Andrew actually.
That's why I don't have my face up there.
I know, it's
I
good.
don't want to get picked on.
Yeah, she's looking at her phone. She's just answering your text. I see. That's good. Tell them I said hi.
It's from Diane. She has an appointment.
Okay. So the hot showing, I said, so what happened with us a few times, this is why we created that group, is we called the lead because we didn't see the person got a hold of the hot not contacted. So we're going to reach in. Our paycheck depends on your paycheck. And so we reach in and call them. So what's happened several times now with some of our companies is we'll call that person. They'll say, oh, I'm already out with Andrew looking at property. I'm like, oh, well, sorry about that. It just looks like a big disconnect. You don't want that. So if you put these in the right categories, yes.
I have a question. So what if you get a hot lead that's scrubbed, like I have one right now, and I call, text, email the first day?
Yep.
Do the same thing the second day, different times, different phone numbers. Get the guy on the phone. He tells me, oh, I'm in the middle of something. Call me back tonight. I do. How long do you keep doing that? Because it seems like they're not interested if, I've called 9 times in 3 days.
Right.
Called 3. When do you stop?
Yeah, here's the way I look at it. Remember, we don't send you that a hot lead to you unless they tell us.
Right.
We're really good.
But they could be full of crap a little bit too.
Absolutely, no question. And I'm not going to tell you, there's definitely going to be a percentage of those that are full of crap. If it was, we'd all be making a fortune because we have millions of hot leads.
Right.
And so, I tell my agents to just, until you get a hold of them, they tell you they're not interested, I keep going.
Okay.
And the thing is, consumer one.
What do we do after that?
What's that?
How do we do, let's say they go, I'm really not ready for a bit.
Right.
And it turns out it's not hot, then we move it back to active.
Exactly. or calendar, but make sure you put a note in there. It's all about the notes for us. Okay.
Okay, that brings up another quick point though. I find a lot of times I'll put in very thorough notes and they'll not read them and then call them and give me, the same information I already got, or, I just don't find that they're reading our notes. Is there a specific spot we can put them in to make sure that the call center is reading our notes?
In the notes section, if you could do me a favor.
I do.
And send me one of those. Again, we're all about training opportunities.
What is your email address?
It's mitch@insidesalesagents.com.
Okay.
And I can get it to you after, Diane, if you need.
Okay.
Yeah, but anytime any of you get something that doesn't look right,
Okay.
send it to me. And again, I'm not going to tell you we don't make mistakes here.
No, I know. Totally.
So I want to make sure that we use those opportunities as training opportunities to make us better at what we do.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm not complaining. I just want to, while I have you on the phone, I figured I'd throw that concern out there.
Absolutely.
That's
No, a constructive criticism is never complaining.
Okay.
That's how we all become better at what we do, right?
Okay. Yep.
So again, those groupings are really, really important. And the notes, I can't tell you how important the notes are. The other thing is you've got to set yourself aside from the other agents that are out there. These people are registering on multiple websites. We're not the only site they go to. They're on Zillow. They're getting called by realtors from Zillow. They're getting called by realtors from Realtor.com, other websites. So you've got to be the professional. So when you get them in the car, this is really when you get them in the car. And I learned this the hard way by losing several deals. How many of you have gotten the phone call on Monday from a customer saying, "Thanks for all your house. I bought a house yesterday"?
I did.
I've had many of them. Well, I didn't have many because I learned how to educate them. So the first thing I do when I get somebody in the car, I explain to them what I do as a realtor. And it's very simple. Okay. I just want to make sure I was recording this. I couldn't remember if I pressed the button or not. It's very simple. I say, I'm going to give you 100. Oh, no, I say, you have me from Monday, whatever days you work, without hours you work. In my case, I didn't work Sunday. That's why I almost died in 2004. So I stopped working Sunday so I could spend time with my wife. But I say, look, you have me from Monday through Saturday, 8 o'clock to 8 p.m. Sunday's my day for my family. And I'm going to give you 150% in finding your home. I'm really, really good at it. When you say I'm really, really good at it, even if you're a brand new agent, it makes them confident that you're really, really good at it. It's kind of funny how words actually affect people. Look at our president, right? And then I get into different scenarios. So the only thing I tell them is I say, I only get paid if you buy a house from me. And I'm sure in your job, you like to get paid for the work you do, and I like to get paid for what I do. Do not shy away from talking about commission because people don't get it. My wife had the house that we live in now that we bought her ex-husband out of. She bought in 1994, and she'd bought probably 7 or 8 homes at that point in her life. And she worked with a realtor for a year. Went to an open house on a Sunday, and the realtor said, I'm working with so-and-so. He said, great, I'll take care of him. And she said, okay, great. And she called the guy on Monday and said, guess what? We bought a house. And I know the guy was like, yeah, that's awesome. I'm so happy for you. And called her every possible name you can call her under her breath because we've had that conversation before. We actually went to real estate school together, and I asked her about that. She said, I had no idea. She goes, I knew they got commission, but I thought they also got a base salary. I also thought they might have got car allowance because she's in the corporate world. In the corporate world, you get all that stuff. In real estate, we don't. So they didn't understand it. So I educate them on commission, and I give that story exactly how I do it. My mother taught me Jewish guilt when I was growing up. It's a great thing to use, and I use it on a daily basis. I even use it with my wife. It's awesome. Mm-hmm. She's kind of caught on now. I used to get Hanukkah and Christmas. Now I just get Hanukkah because she shut me down for Christmas. Because you're Jewish. No Christmas for you. She's like the Christmas Nazi. And then I start talking about for sale by owners. I say, if you drive by a for sale by owner, just send me their phone number and address, and I'll call them. I'll get us in. You really don't want to do a for sale by owner without being represented because they have no clue on how to disclose stuff and what to send, what to give you. And almost every for sale by owner will work with a buyer agent. They just don't want to list the house yet. So I talk about that. I talk again the open houses we talked about, and I talk about new construction. Do you have a lot of new construction going on there?
Yeah. In one city, yes.
Yeah. So new construction, we've been losing tons of business in new construction. When you have low inventory, new construction's killing it, right? So if you're remotely interested in new construction, let's go take a look at all the homes the areas that match your price range. So I'm going to hit everything, and I want open houses we talk about. If you go to an open house, make sure you give them one of my cards and let them know that you're working with me. Generally, they'll leave you alone at that point. They won't hound you. So I make it you're going to stop from having a bad experience by giving my card. But all of it's geared toward letting them know how we work. So they understand how we work, they're less likely to dump you. Now, I also tell them if I'm doing a bad job for any reason, you feel free to fire me. Do you guys do buyer brokerage agreements, sir?
No.
Okay, we don't really have them here either. So you have to really get them. They have to like you and they have to respect you. When you do that, you get a heck of a lot more respect because you took control of the entire transaction right from the beginning of the game. You told them that I'm a professional. This is what I do. This is your responsibility. This is my responsibility. When they get that, they tend to be a lot more loyal. I literally only lost 2 customers the entire time I was in real estate after I started doing that. And that's because I just made it clear. If they say I'm working with another realtor or something like that, so you have to make a decision because I don't work with people like that. So I've had people say, well, fine, I'm going to use the other realtor. And they call me the next day and say, you know what? I've called that realtor 3 times now. She hasn't called me back yet. You called me every time. You'll win them over in that case. But I don't think you should be running around showing people houses that are working with multiple realtors. That's my personal thing. I don't want to waste my time. And I want you to value your time. If you don't value your time, they won't value your time. Okay? Any questions about any of that?
Yeah.
No. We've spoken about that before, so that's just another spin on it, which is great.
Oh, excellent. So those are the main things I wanted to talk about today. I mean, I'm trying to keep you, half hour to 45 minutes. So I know you're all busy. We talked about phone calls. We talked about grouping. We talked about hot and calendar leads. Emails. So the only email, do you guys do a drip campaign?
We don't. I talked with your gals about it, and we were going to create one.
We're actually redoing ours right now. So when I redo that, I'll get that out to you. But what I'd like you to do is put one in there now. And I'm going to give you, I'll email you, Dave, the word for word thing, but it's very simple. It's just checking in, making sure you're getting my updates. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help. I can show you any property in whatever area you work. It's a very simple email. It's still to this day, and I've been using that since day one. It gets more traction and more responses than any other email I use.
How often do you send it?
Every 6 weeks.
Okay. Yeah. On every lead?
On every lead, yeah.
All leads.
So it's very important on your leads with no phone numbers that you're setting them up in searches right away also.
Sure.
25% of our sales every year come from leads with no phone number.
We require phone number, but we get a lot of wrong, and then obviously we clear those out.
Right, that's fine. Yeah, but so those ones especially. So what a lot of realtors do, they say, well, I'm not going to do that until we've actually talked to them, right? And the problem with that, it could be a week or so before you talk to them. And so what you want to do is make sure from day one they're getting listings from you. The other thing you want to make sure is that listing that you're sending is broad. So you always want to make sure that there's at least 25 plus listings that match that. It's not about being completely accurate. It's about putting your name in front of them on a regular basis. So if you do a listing thing that's only 5.
How often do you want those listings going out, daily or weekly?
You do them daily.
Always daily.
Here's in a hot market. So here's what happens. You send them you're sending in listings, right, once a week. And they see something from somebody else they go and buy that because they didn't see it on your site. Our sites have probably some of the best user experiences that I've seen on a real estate site. That's why I spent $500,000 building my other system, and now we're getting rid of all that for this system because it's a better user experience, and that's what drives all this. We get complaints on our other system all the time. I like all your follow up, but your site sucks. And we get that. You don't get that with the REW site. Their sites are amazing from a user experience. Any other questions?
Nope.
Andrea, any questions?
No.
No. Okay. So, I would say Mitch in general. It seems like we're definitely working through it, but a lot of them just aren't ready to pull the trigger yet. Is kind of what
absolutely
I've run into, which is fine. So I guess putting them. So like I have had a number of them that I've shown properties to, but I don't think I've moved them to like the shown property. So that would be a good way. That'll be a good one for you guys to follow up on. I'll make sure.
That's a really big one because again, if you don't follow up with them, they're reaching out to another realtor.
Totally.
And when you're in low inventory, they want a house. But when you only have a few homes to show them, they're not ready. They're not ready until they find the house they want. When they find the house they want, they're going to buy the house. But they have to buy the house. Andrea, you had a question?
Yeah. So there is one category that I feel like we're missing, and I feel like some of the best leads we get are out of state high-end buyers. They don't know anyone. They call us, and I've made quite a few connections to people, and that's a little bit more of a sophisticated buyer. And there's like a couple people that I have like personal relationships with, and they're waiting for their houses to sell or whatever the circumstances are. And I actually would like them to not follow up with them because I do have a personal relationship with them and we're talking consistently. And to be honest, I'm not always updating the notes at that point because I feel like, you know, they're an active part of my life.
Right, but understand that when you don't update the note, when you talk to them, when we pull lists, right? So we're looking for notes, we're looking for dates.
We're trying to put them to not call them because, like, they've called a couple times, like when I talk to them that day, and then they call, and then they're like, "Oh, how come your own assistant doesn't know?"
Right. So are you writing in the notes?
Add a new. I think she means we should add a new group. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I would like. I would like to just be able to have a group that says, like, I've got this one.
Okay. Let me talk to the girls. Do all that stuff because I'm too stupid for that stuff.
What about Andrea? 'Cause I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Do you preface it with, "Hey, my assistant, my assistant will touch base with you from time to time." Do you let them know that ahead of time?
Well, like, I would now, but like there's leads that, you know, I've had, like Carolyn from Phoenix that I've been working with since basically we started working these leads. And, you know, so she's not used to it.
She would be an exception, totally.
Right.
But I mean, there are definitely not many of those, but she is for sure an exception.
And then there's like the guy Randy from Colorado, who's like a $3 to $6 million buyer. You know, like I called him Friday and then they called him Monday, and it's like I already just talked to him. You know, like no, I didn't tell him that my assistants will be checking up, because also, like, it used to be that Chip was going to be calling, and now it seems like it's back to random people calling.
Yeah. So what we did, let me tell you what we did on that, why we did that. So we in this process, we've learned that we can do a better job for you if we call it multiple different times. So for instance, Chip was a 9-to-5 guy.
Okay.
Or in your time, actually. Right? So that was all he was calling. We're missing nights, we're missing weekends, there's all these opportunities to get a hold of people, which are some of the best contact times. So we've split up the duties now between a couple of different people because they work different shifts.
Okay.
That allows us to get a better contact rate to make sure we're getting a hold of people for you. So that's the reason for that. But let me talk to the girls about that. Maybe if we did something like a hot do not call or something like that. So but here's the thing, and Andrew, you're not like everybody else. I'm just going to be honest. The majority of people we work with will put something in a group, right, and still never call it.
Right.
So it's really important, even when you talk to somebody, though, it's so important, because even if you put that in there and we see you're not calling it,
right,
we're going to still call it because we don't want to lose people because the agent dropped the ball.
No, and I know the ones that I'm going to be lazy on, but I can tell you right now, I'm not going to be lazy on a $3 million buyer. And the other one that I've got in Phoenix, she's $1.5 million. I'm not going to be lazy on that one.
So I would write in those ones, write in capital letters, the notes, do not call. Okay. And I'll make sure that that's not happening. Okay. But also I'll talk to Julie and Marlena when we're off the call and see if we can create another hot do not call.
And I'll talk about it. I have a weekly call with them on Fridays. We'll talk about it on Friday too.
Okay, yeah. So let me see what we can do. We'll work around something on that for you.
Yeah, it's just those ones that I know they're super persnickety. They're gonna want 100% of my attention, not an assistant phone call anyway.
I totally get it. Yeah. And again, our job is to help you get sales, not to deter sales from you, obviously. Yeah. So just if you put the note in there and I'll verify it there, because I don't sit there and watch it. I have a staff that does all this stuff for me. I just train people. Make stupid jokes. That's my job. It's a pretty fun job. And I play my guitar. I really just sit in my office half the day just playing my guitar, writing songs. I don't really work for a living. I just but let me figure out with Julie and Marlena that, and Dave, when you talk to them on Friday, we'll have had some sort of resolution for that for you.
Okay, and then one more. So you mentioned you struck on something when you said people are consumers are scared with identity theft and who are you and you're just some stranger. Should we try to get together a drip that highlights the Yelp reviews or the Google reviews, something that gives us a little credibility?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. I don't have a problem with that stuff. I think some people are I'm getting kind of immune to that stuff right now. I know when I read reviews, I don't really take them serious anymore because, who's writing the reviews? Good or bad. I mean, someone goes in and has, their food wasn't perfectly, pretty. They hate the restaurant. It's so subjective. It's hard to even. And I think that's a lot of consumers, at least the ones that I've talked to. We talk about, I talk to people about reviews all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We don't put reviews on there because I never know what's going to be on there.
Okay.
And we've had a couple of bad ones because you guys are. It's a lot easier. You guys are a small team. It's easy to control. You know who works for you, right? I have 105 agents. I don't really know what they're doing in the field.
Sure.
So those two things actually kind of scare me a little bit.
Okay.
I can't control them. But testimonials and stuff like that, those on the bottom of an email, that doesn't hurt. Things like that.
Okay. Did you guys have any other questions, Andrea, Diane?
No.
Just keep in mind, you guys have a direct line to me directly at my Mitch@InsideSalesAgents.com email address. You can send me an email. I really prefer email versus phone calls only because I'm on the phone all day long, and it'll be a voicemail, and I get 30 phone calls a day right now, easily. You're gonna get a better response from me out of email. If you have a question about anything, if you get a lead there's a mistake on it, please forward that to me because that's really important that I see those. Because if I don't see those, I can't fix stuff.
Okay.
And again, we're going to have, we're constantly growing here right now, bringing on new people to work here. We train them on my leads, so they don't call your leads until they've worked on my leads and screwed my stuff up first. And then we switch them over to our customers. And you guys have the people we have calling for you right now are amazing. They're really, really solid people. All right. Well, I recorded this. I'll send this to you, Dave, so you have it. And if you guys have any questions about anything, I'm here.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll
Thanks,
talk
guys.
soon.
Have a great day. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm going to be out there in a couple weeks, I think.
You are?
Yeah, I'm supposed to have a meeting out there, so I'll let you know. We'll get together.
Sounds good.
Yeah, cool. All right, guys. Take care.
Yeah.
Okay, bye. Thank you.